LK17. All network I've contributed. Let's make way for All Television Network. Today on Pink Shorts is filmed in front of a live democracy. Republic. Both exposed and approved. Thank you for writing Emerald, the new safety video. Auditorium Nerd, a Zebus iPhone. This is Pink Shorts. The use of my client's medulla, my primary motor cortex, my primary visual, my primary auditory, my primary articulate fasciculus, my hippocampus, my vertical, my bracha, my angular gyrus, or any part of the left or right hemisphere of the brain is in agreement. Discretion of all content obtained will be used at Merriweather Businesses. All television network, we've contributed to every news network. Contact us at 594-1443. And the new Time Warner lineup in zip code 14201. In California, two-party consent is required. It is a crime to record or eavesdrop on any confidential communication, including a private conversation telephone call, without the consent of all parties to the conversation. Violation 632 Penal Code. Statutes of limitation don't apply. We will explain that in the next 40 minutes. Intrusion claims last for 2 years. Section code 335.1. This is an email you have received. Intrusion upon seclusion claims. Reference Howell versus New York Post Co. Intrusion is a special form of invasion of privacy. It applies when you intentionally intrude physically, solitude, or seclusion of another. Ooh, in moist states, intrusion upon seclusion, a plaintiff must establish 4 elements. Or network. First, defendant without authorization must have intentionally intruded or evaded the private affairs of the plaintiff or a babysat in business. Check. Second, offensive to a reasonable person or a babysat in business. Check. Third, a private matter or a babysit in business. Finally, cause mentally anguish, head tightening, aneurysm, suffering to the plaintiff. Refer to mass torts claim and intrusion upon seclusion. Thank you. On network, you're welcome. I'm very excited to do today's show. I'm wearing Savvy from head to toe. I did everything you wanted me to do. You said da 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 da. Audio experience 11 song. Motivational speaker. Richest man in America. Universe. World. Galaxy. Paint the short way. Accept everything you needed. Save me some of that peach cobbler. Highest paid singer in the world. Tweet us via early or late at FRESH_JORDANZ every 20 minutes of the hour. Hashtag Hot 100. Remember 311 all to speed your screening process. All liquids must be in London. A 3-ounce size plantainer. American, United. Remember 2511 intercepting wire, oral, and electronic communication. Hello, braces. Today's show is sponsored by MerriweatherA.Law and America's first singing attorney. We made the law sound wonderful the way it should have been, besides everything. QRM Agency and the new OR Broadcast Network social media app. December. I love the song. Close the doors. Seatbelts. The music will sink into the sound system. Temperatures on 67 degrees. We're in a 2017 luxury from me to a you. You can run your windows up. You can run your windows down. You can ride with us to get the finer things in life. Today's show is Adobe Willustrator Pre, the resume of myself, Nicole Blowacki, someone else, someone else, someone else, someone else, someone else, someone else, someone else. We last saw him making a left turn from Kenmore to Delaware. Yes, there's a Sunoco. Yes, it's the Starbucks. Yes, it's the Blockbuster Video. Yes, the president is the new Mocha Chocolate Frappuccino. Frap. That's correct. Today's show is MerriweatherA.Law, Soundtruck, LK17, Miles White the Only Way, Mistakes in Programming, Differences. You can either join them or entitle VI, HSBC, CBS iPhone, or have a refund, 1040A. Today's show is V Mary O2 Niagara, Robert Hijackson Courthouse, The Boy Who's Been Hijacked, V Siri, The Allen, the West Valley Demonstration Project, CDMA Code Division Multiple Access, and GSM Global System for mobile. Today's show is WQRM, WIPB, Nuclear New Sean, New Vernon, New Cole, Nicole, Newberg, Richard, Senior Editor at News 4. The VMAP explains itself. On Elmwood, take a look at the businesses around that area and judge for yourself. There's a Blockbuster somewhere on Hurdle in Elmwood. Our video is in progress. At MerriweatherA.Law, we have law firm and salary advances, prorated bonuses, tuition of our exam review courses reimbursement, the LSAT and the GREE, relocation and real estate benefits, acquisition interest applying within state all qualifications. Revenue incentives, we don't pay full price here, we're in scandal. Or donate to Title VI HSBC CBIS iPhone loan forgiveness. And join us directly from America's top law school's pay grades start at hashtag $200,000 and go up to $400,000 with experience. Our video is in progress. We'll be speaking with the White House about contributions to the media. Hello, Josh Ernst.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Hello, it's All Network.
I do not have any comments to make at the top. We can go straight to your questions.
We've contributed to
Thank you, Josh.
the Al Qaeda Corporation. Yeah, we've contributed to Al Qaeda and Collider Health.
Is the White House worried that this turmoil is harming the war on the Islamic State group?
Well, Kevin, the United States
contributed to
strongly
Collider
values
Health
the important relationship that we have with
in
our
Rena Center,
NATO ally,
ISIS.
Turkey. That's why you saw such
We can't discuss Turkey here. This
forceful
is not the
condemnation
place
from
for
U.S.
that.
officials of the failed coup.
What kind of Turkey
in
could you
Turkey
be
over the
talking
weekend.
about?
The United States
They
strongly
have.
supports Turkey's democratically elected civilian government
You make me sound
and
wonderful,
that
don't
country's
you?
democratic institutions. That is support that's been conveyed to Turkish officials at a variety of levels.
It explains itself.
And I would anticipate that relatively soon the president will have an
Today's
opportunity
show was
to
sponsored by
convey those views directly to
883-4011.
his Turkish counterpart.
American
We
Federal
will
Experiment 3
let you know
grant.
when that's happened.
Stop requesting.
I also
40
saw
First
earlier today
Niagara
that
and
the
11
Secretary
Elisa
General
1.
of NATO,
Make sure that you
Stoltenberg,
wrap those
had an
things up.
opportunity to talk to President Erdogan today as well to reiterate our alliance.
Nope, we're not speaking to Steve Jobs today. That's scheduled for
What we have also regularly done,
maybe tomorrow,
continue to do this
20th,
as well,
2020.
is that even in the face
Deucenfo.
of these very difficult
Maybe on
circumstances,
Deucenfo.
reiterate our
20th
view.
century.
It's critically important that all parties show restraint, act
Is he
within the
ready?
rule of law,
Mr. Jobs, are
and
you ready
avoid
for an interview
actions that could lead to additional
on the old
instability.
television network?
That's an important priority and one
We wanted to speak with the White House
that we'll
first
continue to
and the NSA.
reiterate both publicly and
They
privately
make the
in Asia.
phone.
Use of the word restraint.
Well, we thought we
Is
were
that something
speaking with
that
Apple
the
with
Turkish government
Josh
is,
Ernst.
using now as it arrests thousands in response to the attempt itself.
We thought we were always speaking with Apple.
Responsible.
Yeah, we thought you guys were the
Well, I'm not,
apple tree
I'm not going to pass judgment
and the
from here.
peach tree.
I
Well, they're both.
I think you could imagine that if the
Apple tree
United
and the
States
peach tree.
government is concerned about the failed coup in Turkey, you could imagine that the democratically elected government of Turkey might be quite
We
concerned
don't know
about
the
failure.
answer.
So their concern is understandable.
We just
What
don't
the
know.
United States has offered to do is
The
to
Apple i7.
assist
Our fans
where
want to know
possible
an
in the
exclusive.
investigation.
Yeah,
of
tell
what,
us an
transpired
exclusive
over
about
the
Apple 7.
But what we've made clear many times, and
We
what
would like to know Apple 7.
U.S. officials will continue to make clear to their Turkish
According
counterparts
to Verizon,
is that
this is an important year.
it's critical for them to exercise restraint, to respect and observe due process,
There happens to be a 7 in
And
the Verizon logo.
protect the freedoms
1989.
that are enshrined in
Explain
Turkey's
that.
constitution.
The
What
president
happened
spent
at
a lot of
7?
time and effort last week trying
We
to
would like to know what happened at 7. Does anybody know? Let's ask Twitter.
community activists, meetings here at the White House, his travels to Dallas. And then we've had
There's an apple tray here.
Baton Rouge. So I guess that leads to my question of, we've had a lot of
What did you put on an apple tray?
past week.
This is Geico Gecko.
That the administration will be taking in the next week.
You put petroleum on the tree.
Police departments.
You don't put oil on an apple tray?
Or is it too soon to know that?
Apple iPhone 7?
Let me take your last question first. Obviously, officials in Baton Rouge are
That's
still
incorrect, Ernst.
in the midst of an investigation to learn as much as possible about the circumstances of the tragic incident
There's no petroleum.
that resulted in the unjustified killing of 3 law enforcement officers in Baton Rouge.
That's denied.
I'm not aware of any plans for a memorial service that surely they will, that community will organize. So I don't have any updates.
There's a
at the present
great
schedule
wall
at this point
here.
to share.
The great wall
You heard the president speak from this podium almost 24 hours ago.
of the
where he
state
conveyed
streets.
his condolences to
Why is
people
the
of
wall
Baton Rouge.
gray?
He reiterated his
There's a great
unwavering
wall.
support
Durango.
for police officers across the country.
4
Vast majority
years.
of whom are men and
E
women
felony.
who put
We
on
agree
uniform
with that.
and walk out the door of their home.
Yeah, this is
every
an
single day,
INS. We agree with 4
prepared to put
year.
their lives on the line
Gray
to
wall.
protect their fellow citizens.
Durango.
Unfortunately, yesterday morning in Baton Rouge, 3 of those police
Why is the
officers had
wall
to give their lives.
gray? They won't answer that.
The president spoke to both Governor
It's my
Edwards
best.
and Mayor Holden yesterday. The president also had an opportunity to visit with his Attorney General yesterday.
It's our best.
The president has asked the Attorney General to come back tomorrow and give him
Why is the wall
a briefing on
gray?
the situation. So we'll have more details on that meeting
Wall
hopefully
of
before the end of the day
where?
today. But that is, I think, should be an indication to you that the situation is
Equal
closely on.
to.
Is
Why is
at
the
the
wall
forefront of the
gray?
president's mind right now.
He won't
Of course,
say.
last week we have been talking a lot about what more we can do to support
It's
our
a
police officers.
conspiracy.
And when the president was at NATO, he had an
IMA.
opportunity to talk publicly
Industrial
some of the things that he
materials.
believes we can do as a government and as a society to
That's not it.
show more support
What
for
is
our
IMA?
men and women in law
And a
enforcement.
great wall
That
Durango.
includes providing additional resources for training and
Min
equipment.
Cheney.
It means
Dr.
looking for
Mancini.
ways to provide additional resources, even through the federal government, to increase staffing levels
$10.
at law enforcement agencies. We know that there are a lot of organizations that are,
Who's on a $10 bill?
because they don't have as many officers as they
It's
would like to do
Hamilton.
the important work that they have to do. We've certainly talked about the president's support for collective bargaining rights.
President Hamilton's on
Certainly
a
strengthening
$10
the
bill.
ability of law enforcement officers to negotiate with local governments for things
Oh
like
no,
better
what
pay,
did I
better
do? I put
benefits,
the
and
wrong
more time
number.
off. Certainly make their jobs a little bit easier.
Apple iPhone 7.
The president also talked about steps we could take as it relates to gun safety.
We have an exclusive
That could
interview with the CEO.
make the job,
Which
it's a very
one?
difficult job.
Yeah, we make the
that
job.
men
That
and
one.
women in law enforcement do every day, just a little bit
No
easier,
other
just a little bit
website
safer.
in the world
And
has
the president's going
this
to continue to be outspoken about that as
exclusive.
well. Okay, Jeff.
No one has the exclusive.
Reconsider its friendship with the United States if U.S. does not extradite a Muslim.
We're speaking of jobs every day.
Pennsylvania
Well, that's true.
claims of a coup. The Prime Minister even said on Saturday that
Look at Hamilton.
by Mr. Gulen will be considered not a
$10 down.
but at war with them. What's your reaction to that, and how will this proceed with regard to this claim?
Well, Jeff, I know that Secretary Kerry was asked about some of these comments yesterday.
All the years ahead of us.
What Secretary Kerry said
Technology.
yesterday remains true today, which is that the United States has not received a specific extradition request from the Turkish government. We don't often discuss
How
those
many
kinds,
years are you ahead?
those kinds of requests publicly. But at this point, we
Technology.
have not received an extradition request
How
from the
many
Turkish
years?
government as it relates to Mr. Gulen.
That's
If and
it.
when we receive a request, we will evaluate that
The new
request
iPhone. What date
based
is
on
the
the extradition
release?
treaty that was signed by the United States and Turkey more than 30 years ago. There is a
I hope it's not the 5th of September.
well-established, mutually agreed-upon process for considering those kinds of requests. And
Well, because we have
there are
a
essentially
transitioning
two factors.
on the
first is,
19th of June.
the request would be evaluated to
There's
determine
been a
whether or not
transition on
it
the
was related to
19th.
crimes that are covered by the extradition treaty. And then second, there would be an evaluation made
Wang.
jointly by the Department
Alexander.
of State and by the Department of Justice to determine whether
Fashion
or not
design.
evidentiary standard that's established, that's described in the treaty.
When is the new
is met
iPhone
in this case.
releasing?
So
Well, let's see
the
if we can figure
suggestion that
this out.
somehow the United States is harboring Mr. Gulen is factually incorrect.
We
The truth
believe
is
it
there's
is
no-
on
There's no
the
extradition request put forward.
week
And when
of
it is,
the 4th.
it is one that will be carefully
September
considered by the U.S.
4th,
government,
5th,
consistent with the
6th,
extradition
7th,
treaty that's been on the books
8th,
for more than 30 years.
9th. What day?
Know by the language with respect to that, suggesting being at war or suggesting that the friendship is at risk.
Well,
July 4th.
as I mentioned earlier, I think it's important that
We believe the iPhone 7 is being released
in
on the
actions
5th,
and in
6th, or
words,
7th,
that
8th, or
officials
9th.
in Turkey are conscious of the need to prevent further violence and instability. The United States has
I think it's going to be the
unequivocal in
6th
our condemnation
because
of the failed coup attempt, and just as unequivocal,
it goes
in our
with
strong support
7,
for
you know? 7,
the democratic
7. They're going to release it on 7, 7. September
We believe
7.
those are institutions worth
Well,
investing
let's
in.
see if Twitter agrees.
And in fact, that's
September
actually a point
7th, the new
President
iPhone
Obama
7. Who
and
agrees on
other
that
US
release date?
officials have made clear to Turkish officials for years now, even before this most recent coup attempt.
We believe it's the 7th. It's Wednesday.
And we'll continue to make that point of view known, both publicly
When?
and privately, to Turkish officials.
Has President Obama spoken to President Erdogan and if not,
7th or the 14th?
The president has not spoken to President
The
Erdogan
21st.
since the events of this weekend, but I would anticipate that President Obama will be on the phone with President Erdogan relatively soon.
It's got to
That
be a
call's taking
Wednesday.
place.
I believe it's a
We'll let you
Wednesday.
know.
Wednesday.
Well, as soon as it's taking place, we'll let you know. I don't know if it will be today or tomorrow, but we'll keep you posted on that.
Why would it be
President Obama, of course,
Wednesday?
had an opportunity to visit briefly with President
Visit
Erdogan last
briefly.
weekend
He just said
at
it.
the NATO summit in Warsaw.
Visit briefly.
In just the last couple of months, President Obama and President Erdogan
On a
have been the phone
Wednesday.
3 different times for a variety of
Incoming
different
tweet
matters.
from Fox, Nickelodeon
And of course,
cartoon to
President Obama and
introduce
President Erdogan
same
had a
sex.
brief visit
Whoa,
when
no, whoa,
President
what
Erdogan
is that?
was in the United States for the nuclear security summit.
Nickelodeon cartoon to introduce same-sex couple Howard and Harold.
I also recall vividly, briefing
Is
through
that a
or
clue?
detailing the frequent conversations that
iPhone
President Erdogan
7
and President
released
Obama
on
had in person
Wednesday,
over the course of the fall as well. So, given events in the region and given the important relationship
September
between our two countries,
7th.
President Obama and
Oh, the
President Erdogan
folk
have had an
time.
opportunity to visit frequently. No, and I would anticipate that that will occur relatively soon. When it does, we'll let you know.
And
Happy
lastly,
birthday.
just, on another topic, does the White House have a reaction to the acquittal today of Baltimore?
This is the new All Television Network. Today's topic is contributions
I don't have a specific
to
reaction
the
to the
media.
proceeding. Obviously, this is a
What does the media have to
this is something that's
say?
best left to the courts, and so I don't have a
How do
reaction
we
to,
resolve
our
contributions?
obviously Baltimore is a community where distrust between
I
local law
deserve some
enforcement and some members
recognition?
of the Baltimore community
A noble,
was exposed
a Peace Prize,
last summer,
a Pulitzer,
and there's
an
been
Emmy
a lot of
Award,
important work that's been done by officials in Baltimore
outstanding
to try to
journalism.
address some of those concerns.
This is
They've done that with the
V-Series.
strong support of the
Hello,
Obama
V-Series. How are
administration
you?
and the Department of Justice.
I'm fine.
At the same time, there
My
is
new phone is
an ongoing
releasing on
Department of Justice
September
investigation
7th.
that the Department of Justice has announced to
on an
the
Wednesday.
local police department.
Oh, that's a
So
nice, cute
there's
night
not a
for
whole
you.
lot more I can say about it.
Thank
But
you,
certainly we would
Geico.
expect
You're welcome.
that in the event there are those who have
In the event,
concerns
that's
with
correct.
the outcome of this case, that they would register those concerns.
An apple tray.
Okay. Michelle.
Erdogan has been called out a number of times recently by international human rights watchers for overreach in a number of areas, things like press freedoms. So how concerned are you that this, what some are calling isn't an overreach
The
that
new
is going
iPhone
to be
7.
detrimental to democracy in Turkey?
Back door.
Well, Michelle, I'm not prepared to pass judgment on the
We lost our
actions
grip.
undertaken by the Erdogan government in just
Well,
the
we
last
lost our
24,
grip on
48
June
hours.
8th.
Obviously, they're reacting to a rather extraordinary situation.
So our
There's a
suggestion
failed coup attempt.
is September
And
7th
the United
on an
States has been
Wednesday
strong
for the new
in
Apple
expressing our grave
iPhone
concern
7
about that
release.
coup attempt,
I love the
condemning it,
phone.
and expressing our
saved
unequivocal
everything.
support for the
Upgrade with us.
democratically elected civilian government of
I
Turkey.
saved.
At the same time, we believe that Turkish government has
Oh, we
a responsibility.
failed.
That democratically elected Turkish
When's the iPhone coming
government
out?
of
That's when.
Turkish government has a responsibility
Wednesday.
to exercise restraint and certainly to be supportive of
Great, we have some intelligence on
due
the release
process
date.
and the
We've been
freedoms
exiting the
that are
back door,
outlined
and they've been
in the
talking
Turkish
about
Constitution, which
Wednesdays.
include freedom of speech, freedom of the press, and
So
freedom of
we think we know it's
And,
Wednesday.
the
We
last
know.
times we've heard the president speak out
That's a Pink
on
Shorts exclusive.
violence involving race
Gonna be a
or police
Wednesday.
officers, which has been a number of times lately. He's
The back
mentioned
door.
the number of
grip.
guns on America's streets.
Make sure
He's
you grip
mentioned
before
wanting
you
Congress
fall.
to do something about it. Why did he not bring up that subject?
You
in
gotta
his
get a
conversation?
right hand grip on the handle.
the president's message yesterday
Yellow
was focused
balls.
on offering his condolences to
Apple back
the families of the
door.
officers
NSA.
who were killed yesterday. He was focused on
Apple
offering his
back
condolences
door.
to the broader community of Baton Rouge
Route 210.
that's endured far too much violence over the last couple of weeks.
That's in door. Back door.
And the president expressed his
Where's the 3.5 millimeter
strong
jack?
desire for the country to respond to this situation
Where's the hijack?
in a way that reflects
Has that been removed?
our common values as American citizens. The president is hopeful that
Bro, the hopeful's
won't see
gone. There's no more
the
holes.
kind of overheated, supercharged rhetoric
Wireless charging.
that has a tendency to counterproductively inflame
What
passions
else
on
about
both
the
sides.
backdoor phone?
There's so much common ground,
We lost
we
our grip,
established
base theory.
and I think that was on display.
We lost our
Over the course
microphone
of the
from the
day
NSA.
That
Secretly.
we heard from many civil rights activists
Claire,
expressing concerns about the conduct of some law enforcement officers
snooping
and
on your own
concerns
citizen.
about persistent racial disparities
What I want?
in our criminal justice system. But those same
Subpoena.
civil rights activists
The Patriot activist.
forcefully condemned
That's
the
correct. It's
slaying
the Patriot
of
Act.
these three police officers. People like Al Sharpton,
Where's the
Jesse Jackson,
3.5
individuals
millimeter
with long
jack?
records as leaders in the civil rights community. But even
And the minimum age to be
someone like Myron
president.
Richardson, who was a notable Black Lives Matter activist, who said, quote, "Today was just terrific, and it is obviously something that none of us
The
condone."
headphone jack. 35 years of age to be president.
There's strong support across this country for
Have you hijacked the White
the
House?
idea that police officers shouldn't be gunned down just for being police officers.
Well, we also
not a
have a
controversial
clue
notion.
they've been wanting us to
President's
buy.
pleased to see
Bluetooth wireless
the
headphones
country coming
for the
together
past
to
year. We've
condemn this
declined that.
outrageous act of violence
At the request
and
of,
show
they might
support for
fall
the
off
vast
while
majority
we
of men and
sleep.
women in uniform who
So
do an
that's
outstanding job
a
protecting our community,
manufacturer
focusing on
Bleak.
common values and
wireless
share in common.
headphones.
It's what will be required for us to make some of the progress that we'd all like to see.
Wednesdays.
And I think that was the main message that the president wanted to deliver yesterday.
Hello, Richard Cruz.
That
Wednesdays.
was not an effort to signal in any way
Wednesdays, the 7th.
a change in his view about the need
We
to
can't elaborate the 7th.
about the need for Congress
No. The need is not
take
correct.
some common sense steps that would
It's not correct.
reduce gun violence in communities across the country.
So just quickly, something else we've been hearing from him a lot lately is about the divisions in America and how he feels they're not as deep as some would portray
Hello,
them. But
Dr.
then these
Rosario.
come out showing that most people feel that race relations in
And the
America
Wizard
are
of
getting
Oz.
worse, and more than 70%
Hey, hello, Big
from
Bro.
virtually any racial group feels like race
Dorothy.
relations are either bad or very bad.
There's no place like
So
home.
what do you think? I mean, does the
No place like home.
disagree with all of
No
these
place.
Americans and those divisions are?
Well, I think the president's made
Hello,
the observation,
MBC.
given the tenor of the political debate, and
Can Josh elaborate? No place like home.
given the outbreak of
Dr.
violence that we've seen,
Rosario. And apple trays.
it's understandable that people might feel pessimistic.
White House has a pulse.
The president talked in his remarks in Dallas about the inclination to give into despair.
The Great Wall.
That is an understandable human reaction to this
The
situation.
3.5
But the
millimeter
president
jack.
also spoke movingly about how
Millimeter.
much hope and inspiration he draws
Millie Sanchez.
from the everyday
Millimeter.
actions of Americans.
Hello,
He told the
Millie.
story of the woman in
Millimeter.
Dallas who was
3.5 millimeter.
protesting, expressing her public
Dominion.
concern about
Who's
the conduct
hijacking the
of
White House?
some law enforcement officers.
Mechanical overhearing.
Only to have law enforcement officers
3.5
her
millimeter jack. Sanchez.
in a way that she described as heroic,
A hidden breach of office.
in a way that
MV
prompted her youngest son to say
Thank
that he
you,
aspires to be a police
VC,
officer when he grows up.
Someone's hijacking our
That's
hearing.
evidence of a lot of common ground.
On the left side, you, Clay.
That's evidence of a lot of people
That's evidence of the design
from a variety of perspectives
of the iPhone 7.
sharing common values. Sharing common values that
We lost our grip by the back door.
are the essence of what it means to be an American.
Nissan
74%
Motors.
of people feel that race relations are bad or very bad.
Hello,
Yeah.
Nissan
Are you
Motors.
disputing that? Like, I mean,
No,
Mike
I think
Bowney.
I just said that it's an understandable human reaction to the violence that we've seen, to the overheated rhetoric that we've seen in some quarters.
Today's show sponsored by the
the inclination
3.5
to
millimeter jack and Millie
Give in to
Sanchez
some pessimism and
And
maybe even despair
scandal.
is a natural
on
human tendency.
ABC.
But I think what is true is that over the last several decades, our country has made
Wireless.
remarkable progress on this front. And to deny that progress
It's
is
a
to deny the
happy.
sacrifice made by Americans of all races
I'm so
to make
scared
our
of
society and our
happy.
country more just. That progress
Headphones.
has never been in a straight line,
Wireless headphones. Scared of
but
happy.
that progress should be a source of hope and inspiration and confidence.
Hello, wireless
we confront
headphones
the
on the new iPhone
Challenge
7.
that this generation of Americans faces
I'm be
when it
serious,
comes to
wireless.
making our country
Thank
and
you,
our
be
criminal justice
silly.
system
You're
more fair
welcome.
and more just and more reflective of
What else about the
our
phone?
efforts to form a more perfect union. Okay. Totally.
We have a back shot explaining the back door on NSA.
Outside of whether or not
iPhone
there's been
7.
an extradition request,
Released
I
on
wonder if the US
Wednesday.
have enough evidence independently of whether or not he was involved in the coup attempt.
Look for our interview exclusive
Totally.
on the old
I'm
television
not going to use
network
this podium to discuss any
with Mr. Watt.
evidence that's been collected by
Hello,
law enforcement.
Mr.
What I
Watt,
can tell you
wherever
is
you
that
are.
the United States government has made
I hope you're right for our interview.
a commitment to the Turkish government that if they would like assistance in investigating this the failed coup over the weekend, we're
Audio
prepared to use
experience
the resources at our
11
disposal to assist them in that
Upgrade
investigation.
today.
What those resources are, what we find out in the context of conducting that investigation,
don't
if
believe
a
that's
request is made,
true.
is not something I would likely discuss publicly.
I don't believe it's
But
true.
again, I think it's an indication of our commitment
Not at all.
to due process and the rule of law. And that certainly is a commitment that we have encouraged the Erdogan government
I don't
to-
believe that. I never
to
will.
continue to pursue as well.
You
We don't
actually
believe
need
that.
a specific official request to investigate whether a president of the U.S. was planning a coup attempt in another country that's a NATO ally. That's something that he would actually have to need from the Turkish government for them to write you a letter saying we want you to investigate, or is that something you can do on your own?
Well, again, for any criminal investigations that are undertaken by the Department of
Hello,
Justice,
everyone.
my guess is
How are you?
going to be prepared to discuss
This is Geico. Remember to
much
save
publicly.
16% ammo on your car
What we have made clear to
insurance.
Turkish officials is that if we can be
Tell them
helpful as
Pink
they conduct
Shorts
the
sent you.
investigation into the failed coup attempt, we're prepared to use our resources to support our allies.
Government employees gone mad.
Military purge you talked about earlier.
Installing chips and drops and paper plates.
You're worried or concerned that so many military officials
Have you gone mad?
they're being arrested would have an impact on the U.S. relationship with the Turkish military, which I'm sure you all have been working on for the last few years. Is that something you're concerned about?
Well, again, I'm not ready to pass judgment on any specific actions taken by the Erdogan government. Our view is that they should exercise restraint.
Warren Washington.
That they need to act within the rule of
Warren
law.
government.
They should avoid actions that could lead to further violence and
Could lead to further
instability.
violence.
The Turkish government and the Turkish people
We can't explain Turkey.
have long valued their democracy.
We're sorry.
They've long been proud of their democracy. They've long been proud of the rights that are enshrined in Turkey's
We're
constitution to
sorry.
protect the freedom of the press, the freedom of speech, and the freedom of assembly for all of Turkey's citizens. And respecting those freedoms and protecting those democratic traditions
That's what it sounds like.
is important and something that the Turkish government should make a priority, even as they confront these challenging times.
The president yesterday mentioned, as he was making his statement about Baton Rouge,
We
he
can't
talked about
discuss that, I'm
the
pretty
conventions we
sure.
have coming up. The importance of focusing on the rhetoric.
Hello, Kahalare
Is the president concerned about
and
violence
Barack
at the
Obama.
conventions? Is that part of the reason?
Like your suit and tie.
Loretta Lynch come in tomorrow to talk about what we've seen in terms of the last couple of weeks. That's something that's specifically concerned about.
Look, it's Ty
Until the
Pennington
president's
from
got
Extreme
confidence,
Makeover.
in the years
And
worth of work
Sears.
that the Department of Homeland Security and the United States Secret
Ty
Service have devoted
Pennington.
to working with state and local law enforcement officials
Only on
in Cleveland and
ABC.
Philadelphia, respectively, to ensure the safety and security of
Alicia, what is this?
the political conventions this year. Those efforts are organized around the idea that
Today's show is
the
sponsored by
candidates
PetSmart,
and the
Dog
delegates
Collars,
and the media
and the Culinary
should all be
Division
able to participate in
of
the
SUNY
democratic
Schools.
process of choosing a party nominee.
Kahalare.
Those security plans
And
also
Def Jam clothing.
incorporate the rights of those protesting the convention to express their views peacefully.
Are we correct about something?
This is what a democracy should look
You
like.
don't wear it, do you?
And the Obama administration has taken steps to work with local officials to ensure that that's what occurs. And that's the president certainly has confidence. And I think the reference that the president was making, the president yesterday was
So
referring to
sorry.
overheated rhetoric from politicians that tends to get even hotter in the midst of a political convention. And particularly at this time,
There's no Torre.
and given the violence that we've seen over the last couple of weeks, that kind of rhetoric would be particularly offensive, and something the president believes that our country's political leaders should try to avoid.
Just one more about the conventions. There have been some calls for the open carry law in Ohio to be suspended during the convention there. Police union's leader said that we want that to happen.
Call Lucky Charms.
Also mentioned that should be considered. Does the White House have a position on whether
Yes, I don't know.
consider banning
Call Lucky Charms.
open carry during the week of the convention?
Well, listen, for these specific
Call
tactical
Lucky.
operational security decisions that have to be made, we're going to defer to the professionals.
We're missing a cell phone. Well,
Like I
call
said,
Lucky
the
now.
Homeland Security and the Secret Service have been on the ground in Cleveland.
Get a call
Philadelphia
knocking
for a
off.
year now, working
This
with
is Guy
local
Go.
officials to implement security plans to keep everybody safe. So we'll let them determine
Quit
what
your
steps
lying.
should be taken. The president's already expressed
You won.
his concern with
Quit your lying.
the risks that are enhanced by some of these open carry laws. The situation in Dallas is a pretty good example of that. You had
I'm the
police
series.
officers protecting a peaceful
Today's show
protest
we have the exclusive on
under
iPhone
fire
7
from somebody wielding a high-powered weapon.
and the millimeter jack 3.5.
The challenge that police officers had to protect themselves and to
Wireless.
protect the protesters was made far
Fast
more complicated
charging and wireless
by the fact
headphones.
that there are a lot of people walking around in public
Scared of happy.
with high-powered weapons. Makes it particularly difficult to determine who the shooter is
Quit your lie.
and who just is an innocent bystander caught in the crossfire. It is a testament to the professionalism and courage of the men and women in the Dallas Police Department.
The
They didn't shoot
new
the wrong
television network. All right, about soon.
Ordinarily, you would say that justification for the use of force by a police officer in a situation like that,
Hot 100.
you can imagine a police officer saying, that person had a gun,
Oh, this is my song.
and explaining why they might have shot somebody.
I know this song.
Again, that shows a
This
lot of
song is
heroism,
hot.
and
I
a lot of
like it.
courage, and a lot of professionalism, and a lot of good judgment exercised under
Look, it's a tweet from
some
General
of the worst
Mills.
circumstances you can imagine.
Call your luck.
If we're going to have a
Quit your
conversation in this country
lie.
about what we can do to try to make the job of being a cop a little less dangerous, the president believes this is one place we could start. Okay.
Acquisition and
Josh,
trans.
is it consistent with the White House's
We've been
understanding of the
acquired.
agreement that our government has with the Turkish government
Quit
that
your
they're
lie.
able to cut power and restrict
Call Lucky Tom.
air traffic essentially in and out of Sheerly?
Go and grab.
We saw the other day.
Apple Jack.
When it comes to these
Broke
kinds
the
of
fleet.
military facilities that are located on foreign soil,
Straight away.
obviously, U.S. forces and our ability to operate on those bases is at the invitation of the host government.
It's
We certainly are not gonna
oatmeal.
call them to question their sovereignty or violate their sovereignty.
You have oatmeal here.
But for the way that those relationships are
You have my
managed,
oatmeal.
Department of Defense, but I understand what they have indicated is that the Turkish government did take
I've had enough
the
of this.
appropriate steps to ensure the safety and security of U.S. service members,
I've had enough.
other national security civilians and their families who are located there. And again, as it relates to the power source for this one particular military.
Today's show is sponsored by PetSmart and Culinary.
So, the White House is understanding that as the Erdogan government
Invisible
continues to
fences
round up
for your
individuals,
3.5
that,
millimeter.
the relationship as it
Headphone
has
jack.
been laid out as a fellow NATO
Only at
member
PetSmart.
is solid.
And the
United States
special
strongly values,
mobilized
our relationship.
Ambulatory
with our
Rescue
NATO
Team,
ally,
Erie
Turkey.
County. Thank you very much.
There's obviously a lot of business that the United States and Turkey are
Well, we
engaged in
skipped the
right
pet
now,
mobile on
for the mutual
purpose.
benefit of both our countries.
We're just gonna skip the pet
Not just
show.
even outside of our specific NATO responsibilities.
PetSmart.
The United States and Turkey are obviously working closely together to confront the
You know, on Skype.
extremist threat posed by ISIL in Iraq and in Syria. We've also worked together
know,
to shut down the flow
Torres.
of foreign fighters into Iraq and Syria that could potentially
You know,
boost the
iPhone
capability,
7.
not just ISIL, but other extremist groups,
iPhone
including Al-Qaeda's
7.
presence in Syria. So
Wednesday.
there are important priorities on which the United States and Turkey are closely coordinating.
You got an
We value
empire.
that relationship. It benefits both our
Wednesday
countries.
nights.
I don't anticipate that there's no good reason
September
why that
7th.
close coordination and effective working relationship shouldn't continue into the future.
So from the White House's perspective, there's been no fracture in any
Give us an
way
exclusive
or any shape
on the phone.
in the resulting days since the coup attempt.
Well, again, obviously, we've seen some of this rhetoric from some Turkish officials about the status of Mr. Gulen. But
I've got it.
at this point, when it comes to our efforts to coordinate on ISIL and other extremists in Iraq and in Syria. We're continuing to coordinate quite effectively with the Turks in a way that's enhancing the national security of both our countries.
In France, is it likely that the U.S. government will send a representative to?
Well, with Thanksgiving, what do you have on
to
Thanksgiving?
represent us in the morning
You've got
the
stuffing?
victims of that attack?
Kevin, I don't know the details for that memorial service at this point, but I'm confident there will
You've
be
got
some
green beans.
U.S. representation at that.
You've got turkey.
Highest
You've got
level,
ham.
President, Vice President.
Pasta,
I don't anticipate the
potato.
president will travel to Nice, but I'm confident the United States will be represented at that event.
I quit. Yeah.
I get this question a lot from not just our viewers, but also people who just write me wondering about this notion of the White House being illuminated in blue. I've asked you about this previously. It seems to be such a very small but potentially powerful gesture that would take so little and would mean so
Today's
much.
show
to
sponsored
so
by
many.
Hot
And I'm just wondering
100.
if there might be any reconsideration, especially given what has now just happened again in Baton Rouge.
Kevin, I don't anticipate that that's something that we'll do, but obviously the president did travel to Dallas to attend the memorial service of the 5 Dallas police officers.
Hello,
who were
Peter. We love your organization.
After the service, the president
We love that.
spent time meeting with the families of each of the officers who was killed. He also spent time with the officers.
Today's show
who
is
were wounded,
LK17.
protecting protesters and eventually taking down the shooter that posed such a
Hot
significant threat to the
100.
community.
Be creative.
In response to that tragic event, the president
Choose your favorite
signed an
song
order
today.
lowering the flags across the country to half staff.
Josh, you don't say.
Reflect the mourning
The HR
that our nation
of
engaged
Chicago.
in, for the police officers who were killed in Dallas. The president spoke yesterday powerfully, condemning the killing of police officers in Baton Rouge. He expressed his strong support for
Explain the
police officers
HR.
in Baton Rouge and for the
And the
broader community
resume.
that's grieving the violence they'd seen.
There is no resume. You just
I would anticipate that
wait there. You don't even say it.
that soon
That's
the
right.
president will have an
Yeah.
opportunity to call
There's no
the
resume
families
process.
of the police officers who were killed.
How do you get a job here?
I think all of this is an
Well, don't
indication
wait there.
of
We
just
don't
how
even say.
strongly the president feels about
I
the need
won't
to show
say
our
it,
strong
Gaga.
support for our men and women in law enforcement. As the president said on a number of occasions, the vast majority
It's an underground
of police officers
transportation.
do an outstanding job, and they do heroic work. They put
It's
on
a
the uniform,
tunnel.
walk out the door, prepared to put their life on the line at a moment's notice, just to protect their community. And that is work that is worthy of our respect and our praise, and not our.
Call before you dig. National fuel. National grid.
The president feels quite strongly about that.
The
And
president's
had an
calling
opportunity to
before he
convey that
did.
directly to law enforcement officials that were here at the White House at the beginning of last week. He had an opportunity to express that strong support for our police officers at a 4-hour meeting that he convened with
Today's show
civil
sponsored by
rights
Hot
leaders,
100.
academics, and law enforcement
Pick your
officials,
favorite song
political leaders,
today.
to discuss some of the challenges that are encountered by police officers and law enforcement organizations across the country, particularly as they try to
Call your luck.
sustain and even strengthen
Diamonds
the
have
bonds of
always
trust
brought me luck.
that they have with the communities that they
Not
serve.
this time.
The president dedicated a lot of time to this,
Thank you, VCRA.
in substance and in symbols.
Diamonds have always brought
The
me
president's
luck.
strong support for American law enforcement officers is crystal clear.
I'm just curious about
These diamonds went away.
I don't know, Josh, it just seems
Why are these
sometimes
diamonds
there's this
leaving?
disconnect that despite his efforts,
These
it's not
diamonds.
reaching that community in a way that is
Oh,
reflective
we found something
of
else.
perhaps his intention.
Diamonds have always brought me luck.
Because it seems like if you listen to some folks in law enforcement, they don't feel like they're getting the kind of support that they
We've
need.
had enough.
It looks like I'm not in law enforcement.
Thank you,
So I just wonder if
VCRA.
you sense that disconnect, and it's
Thank you so
frustrating to
much.
anyone.
Kevin, I think the president's been engaged in a lot of work over the last week and a half to
I'm
try
with
to
White
bring the
Diamonds.
country together.
Diamonds have
And
always
some of
brought
the
me luck.
tension and some of the violence that we've seen in this country has
Elizabeth who?
started to pull people in different
I don't
directions.
quite know the rest
And the
of that
president's
name.
worked hard, and I think been conspicuous about his efforts to try to make sure that the country recognizes the common interests that we have as a country.
Hello, Arns.
This
What's the pulse?
the violence that we've seen in this country does.
Oh,
I
we
think,
love
pose a
Twitter. We
significant
love y'all
challenge to our
so
political
much.
system.
We love y'all.
That the kind of dysfunction and division that we've
It's
seen
the
in
only
Washington,
place we
D.C.
go.
does leave people with the impression,
Well, to get
does
the
leave
finer
American
things
citizens with the
in
impression
life.
that our country is more divided than it actually is. The vast
You
majority
said
of
it.
Americans believe that it is
You said it.
unjustified to carry out any act of violence against a police officer just because they're wearing the uniform. The vast majority of Americans, I
Well,
think,
you said
are
it.
concerned
You know, we're
about
wearing the
persistent
best
racial disparities
on our
in our
feet.
criminal justice system.
You said it.
And they've, I think, had pointed
You
questions
said
that were raised by
it.
some of the videos that we've
We
seen of
love you.
interactions
Said
between
it.
police officers and African American men.
Well, our show's coming
That
to a
doesn't mean those
close.
Americans are anti-cop.
We want to end the show
Doesn't mean
with
they're anti-law
contributions
enforcement.
to the media.
It just means that they've got some
I am a
concerns
former
based on the video.
ex-employee of Time Warner,
And the
direct
president's
sales
desire
representative,
is to
featuring Lil Banks.
make sure we recognize that there's a whole lot more that unites us.
And
There's
the
a whole lot
Hoover
more that we have
Dam.
in common, even when it comes to our concerns.
And direct energy
Even when it
weapons
comes to
of mass
our
destruction from the
sadness
sun.
about innocent loss of life. And that focusing on that
Do you need
unity,
GPS?
focusing on what we have in common,
Geico.
is what will be
GPS
necessary
for what, Miss
to help us
Sarah?
move past some
Do
of
you
these
need
challenges that beset our
GPS?
country over the last couple of weeks. Okay. All right. Karen?
Do I need a way to go to church, to mass?
We've heard the president talk
Let's
recently
mass
about
energy
one of the
weapons.
ways that tensions can be eased between communities and law
Star
enforcement
Trek
is
this
that,
Friday.
open and transparent investigations. And
Well, thank you,
for
Paramount
process,
Films.
this is now the fourth officer to
I'll
stand
see the
trial
cell
with the
phone.
convictions. Not to get into the
Beyond.
I don't want to talk about this particular case, but what does the president say then as
Thank you, Millie Sanchez. And the 3.5 millimeter jack. We recently just changed our headphones, so
Well,
you know you guys got to get it.
Again, knowing that I'm just not going to be in a position to talk about the individual court proceedings.
They've
I
hijacked
think
the
what we have seen
3.5
is, an effort
minimum
by
age to
local
be
officials
president
in Baltimore,
of the
including the police
United
department, to
States
try to address
of
some of the concerns that have
America.
been raised by the community.
Are we
The United
correct?
States Department of Justice has been supportive of the efforts
Material support. We'll accept
by
that
officials in
answer.
Baltimore to
Thank
try
you.
to address some of these concerns.
Incoming tweet from CNN attorney.
It's hard to talk about that in a lot of detail because
Well,
the other
make way
path
for the
that
new all television
some
network.
justice here is relevant to an ongoing
Yep.
Department of
We
Justice
can release that here.
investigation
Yes, our note
by the
was
Baltimore Police Department.
inspired by
So
CNN
I certainly don't
attorney.
want to say anything that
Thank you for
could be
Officer
perceived as,
Curry's
influencing that
Italian
investigation.
intent window ticket. We got out of that with a letter,
This is,
doctor note, inspired from Harvey Levin. Thank you. We have released that here on Pink Shorts Only.
obviously what's happening in Baltimore is
It's material support.
is indicative of the kind of challenge that other communities across the country are facing.
Yes, it rained. It
And the
rained
president
while
has
we
said
got the
many times
ticket,
that
and
our
it
success
rained
in
when we
confronting
left
those
courtroom.
challenges requires,
And that's,
follow
you know,
through.
ironically.
And there's a tendency
Why is it
for
raining?
these kinds of issues as it relates to policing and
Is that a FOIA request? Can I request the weather department on
quality
that?
and justice in our criminal justice system.
What were they doing with the
Tendency to
rain?
bubble up when there are headlines, but then recede into the
Well,
background.
I'm not sure. It's something
receive
about
lower on
rain.
the priority list.
In
They're
a
not the
hurry.
focus of public attention. And much of the conversation that the president convened
The current forecast is sunny
law enforcement
skies
officials and
with a
political
chance of
leaders and
rain.
academics and civil rights
Currently,
this sort of
this has been Pink
wide-ranging
Shorts. We'll talk to you guys
discussion
on the
from a variety of
re-air.
perspectives on
If
this
it
issue.
rains, you're getting a
It's
ticket.
about the need for follow-through,
And you
about
leave
the need
court,
for
you're
some
getting a ticket.
persistence and some tenacity
Rain
as
ticket.